Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to bring you an update on EVFM. Some exciting catalysts, but also some red flags that we need to be aware of. So, nothing I say is financial advice. I have no idea if the stock is going to go up or down this week. It's at a very interesting point, and I'm going to show you why in this video. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Again, remember, none of this is financial advice. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, first off, let's start with the chart. And as you can see, we have a bull flag that has formed. Also, if you look at the wedge of this, it should be coming to an end here, and breaking to the upside generally is what you would expect when you see a bull flag. Now, a couple of things that I want to point out. Number one is we have a gap fill to the downside. Right here, the bottom being at 48 cents. So the bearish thesis would be that this bull flag has a false breakdown. It dips to the 49 cents and then bolts to the upside and makes a new all-time high, or a new at least high, all-time high from where we've been for the last several months. I shouldn't say all-time high, a new high from the current pattern that we're in. And if you're following it, we're actually in an ascending wedge over this time frame as well. And I'm sorry because I've heard you cannot see my pointer, but I just want you to look at the bottom of each drop from where we are now to all the way down to where it was 11 cents. And then in the middle of the chart, you can see a bottom before it burst back up. If you were to draw a line right there, you would see that we are in an ascending pattern, which would indicate that we may not dip back down to that 48 cents. So that's not set in stone. That's just a worst case scenario that I want you to all be aware of, because when I give technical analysis, I want to give you both sides of it, the bull thesis and the bear thesis. And also something that's on the side of an upswing is that the entire market, guys, has been going up. So it doesn't make sense that this is falling. That's a divergence. And I don't think if it does dip, it's going to last for long. But there is another catalyst that you need to, there's a couple catalysts that you need to be aware of for this week. And I will show you the Ortex data, which I think is very bullish. But let's get into the catalyst first, and then I'll close with that. So we have earnings on Thursday, August 4th. And that could potentially be a bullish catalyst, because I do believe that with all the recent uptake of orders and stuff, and with Fexi getting picked up, from other drug retailers and healthcare contracts, that it should be good. And I'm not sure if it'll get reflected in this quarter's earnings, but if not, definitely over next quarter's. Now let's get to the bearish catalyst and what I think may happen with that. I mean, there's going to be two scenarios, so I guess I'll lay them both out. So obviously we are not going to be in compliance with meeting that 10 days above $1 before August 9th. And that's a NASDAQ listing requirement. There are two things that could happen. One, and what I am hoping and thinking EVFM may shoot for, is they can apply to NASDAQ for an extension. And I believe the extension would be for an additional 180 days, in which case I do not think. I think if that news comes out, then we're going to see a very bullish run, because I think that the reason this is being dragged down is because bears know that they haven't met that requirement, and we came close. We got 8 out of the 10 days, which really stunk. And they didn't deserve to be taken down. But again, I think that was the shorts acting and trying to prevent this run, which is just horrible that this can be done to companies, guys. It really is, because they don't deserve to be as low as they are right now. All the news and all the catalysts have been very bullish for EVFM. And something tells me that, there's more to the story with the short component of it than meets the eye. But that being said, two things can happen. Like I said, either they apply for an extension, or guys, a reverse split is coming. Now, we all know that reverse splits technically aren't supposed to change the price, but they do. That being said, it gives shorts an opportunity where they tend to short things more. And if a reverse split were to get announced, it usually happens after market close. You usually see a sell-off, and sometimes one or two things can happen. Sometimes that very next day when it opens, the price actually takes off. But more often than not, the shorts try to attack it further and bring it down because they want to cover at the cheapest possible amount. And that reverse split actually helps them to do that. It's in their favor, which is why I think EVFM is where it's at right now. But if they come out and say they applied for an extension, then you better be prepared because I think we're going to go on a bull run. So it could go either way. And if it does get dropped down, then it becomes like a game of chicken because if they wait too long to cover, the first one that covers is going to get it best. So this stock having all the good news it's had, which it has had positive news catalysts this week, which I'll bring up as well in just a second, and then the Ortex data. But I think that if it does dip, it won't be long before it rockets back to the upside. I am very bullish on this. So if you're holding this by now, I assume that you're still in this as a long-term trade, in which case we're looking at a term of 5 to 10 years out, which is what I'm looking at for this. And there's no doubt in my mind that, 5 years from now, we will be grateful that we held through this BS. So let's go and look at the catalyst and the Ortex. Okay, guys, so Friday we got this news that EVFM Bioscience commends tri-agencies for clarifying that contraceptives must be covered at no cost to individuals. So what happened was this news came out on Friday, July 29th. On Thursday, the U.S. Department of Labor, Health and Human Services and Treasury released guidance clarifying that group health plans and insurers must cover contraceptives, including emergency contraceptives, at no cost to individuals. So that means, guys, that there's no copay now for Phexxi, which is EVFM's, product, birth control that has no hormones. This is a fabulous, fabulous product. And I believe now that it's going to be covered because one of the concerns was that it was expensive, more expensive, I believe, than birth control. But the fact that there can be no copays from health insurance companies is a huge catalyst for Phexxi. And guys, like I said, I don't expect it to be down for long. And if it does dip more, then I'm going to take that opportunity to just buy more. But I don't know. I'm really 50-50 on this because I see, the gap fill that we could potentially have to the downside, knowing that 48 could be the lowest. However, I do know that with earnings coming up, if they give really bullish earnings or even better, even bullish predictions for year end, then I think that we're going to be in a very good spot. So I tend to think if it does dip, it's going to be very brief. And I also think that, the only concern, red flag really, that I'm seeing is if they announce a reverse split. So I'm hoping that that is not the case. I'm truly hoping that they choose to apply for the extension because I truly believe that they'll get it. So let's keep our fingers crossed this week, but please know you're good, know you're bad. Now let's look at Ortex. According to Ortex, EVFM short interest has increased, guys, to 31.66%. So it's almost 1/3 of the free float that is sold short now. And currently on Friday, we saw that they borrowed 25.3 thousand shares and didn't return any of the ones that they borrowed. Hence, probably why we saw the price do what it did on Friday. The cost to borrow average is actually the same as the max and minimum at 223.8%. Let's take a look at Fintel and see if there's any shares left to borrow. Much to my surprise, because usually it works the other way around, Fintel is actually showing that the short interest in EVFM is higher than what Ortex shows at 35.38% of the float. They are currently showing that the dark pool volume was 53.93% on Friday and that there's 100,000 shares left to borrow at this time, guys. They are also showing a difference in short interest, but maybe because it's the weekend. I'm not quite sure because I don't think you can really borrow shares on the weekend. But it's showing 84.26%. So something that we can keep our eye on. And I just want to look at the high amount of failure to delivers, as you can see in the middle of June. So currently, as you can see, these ones would have already been covered, but it's starting to build up again. And the last reported date of July 14th, there was 282,877 failure to delivers. So something for us to keep an eye on because it's been relatively low, other than, that period where it peaked towards the last week in June, first week in July here. And those should be coming due, actually. Usually it's T plus 35 on these FTDs, I believe. Someone please correct me below if I'm wrong, but that's what I've always come to know. So if that is the case, guys, then we could be seeing this go on a run this week, given the fact that it is now the 31st, of July. That would put all of these heavy hitters into play, which would make it extremely bullish if they have not been delivered as of now. So keep an eye on that. That's very interesting to me, and I'm curious to see, especially given the fact that they have earnings this week, what happens with these numbers. Now, looking at Market Chameleon, you can see that the dark pool trades accounted for 72% of the total volume on Friday, with an average of 70% of all trades of this stock, guys, that's trading for under $1 right now, going to the dark pool. Does that make any sense to any of you? Because to me, that screams a problem. But anyways, that's for another day. As you can see, EVFM traded a total of 12.3 million shares on Friday. So guys, a lot of them are still being sent to the dark pool. They are driving this price down, as you can see. I truly don't believe that retail's selling this stock. I think that, this is just shorts trying to drive the price down, hoping that they don't, like I said, have to file for an extension with NASDAQ and instead decide to do a reverse split. I truly hope that they don't do that and that they file the extension, because I believe that that's the catalyst we need to make this run. And given what I just showed you on the failure to delivers, and my knowledge being that it's T plus 35, that this week we rip. So let's see what happens. Again, nothing I say is financial advice. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a great night.